All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 5 of the Modern Running Podcast. This week, we're going to actually do something a little bit different. If you saw our Instagram, we're going to do a question and answer kind of style this week. I'm super excited for it. We got some good questions. So this should be super fun. I think that we're going to have a lot to talk about. So if I look over to the side, this is where my phone is. So I got to read all the questions. So that's why I'm doing that. All right, so we'll just jump right into it, I think, and kind of roll with it. We'll look through here. So for the first one, we have Brandon. He's a teammate of ours. His name is Brandon Statsuli. Cool guy. So he asked for both guys, hill work or tempo runs. So I'll let you go first.
I think mine's pretty obvious to anyone that knows me. Absolutely hill works. Love the hills. Any normal run I do, I got to incorporate some hills in there. I don't know. It just like breaks up your stride a little bit, adds some challenge. I don't know. I love running hills.
No,
it feels
fair.
like it works my quads and my calves a lot more than like tempo obviously works, but that's more of like, your lungs, your heart, your conditioning. But the hills, I feel like I'm just getting a lot stronger, a lot faster versus tempo.
Right,
I also normally get side stitches when I do tempo runs. So, because I never like really diet ahead for them. Like races, I diet ahead.
Right.
But tempo runs, I don't like prep my body for them or anything.
Well,
so when I go fast out of nowhere, like without my body expecting it, it just
body's just like whoa.
It's like what is happening right now? I thought we were doing like a freaking 10 flat pace today. What is this?
That's a good answer.
Yeah, definitely hills. Absolutely, hands down.
I would have to agree with you. I think
Yes.
I think everybody puts a lot of emphasis on like how fast can you run, like, oh, what's your, mile pace, or what can you do for if you're going to go out and run a pace for 30 minutes, how fast is it? And that's good and all, like, don't get me wrong. That's something that you definitely should know about and practice and get better at. But I feel like it takes a special kind of person to embrace hills well. And I feel like if you can embrace hills well, then like there's some real potential. I'm not saying that there's like, no potential if you don't embrace hills well. Like, like that's not what I mean. But
yeah,
I feel like it's a special type of person that embraces hills. And when you find somebody like that, like that's different. You know what I mean? Like most people hate hills. And so, so that kind of makes me like it, having other people hate it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that was a good question, Brandon. So
I like that question.
Going next, we got Kyle Monroe. He was an old teammate. He said, "Why does Coach O'Brien hate you so much?"
Ooh.
So
I think that was targeted at you.
That's definitely targeted at me. Coach O'Brien loves to pick on me, but it's okay because I get him back a couple of times. It's probably like 100-2 right now in terms of like he has 100, I have 2, but
only
I take those 2. I don't even know. I lost track. All right, so another really good one. I'm just going based on the kind of the story replies first here, so they're in no particular order. But Michael Dorzak said, for the younger listeners, what was your biggest challenge in going from high school to collegiate running? This is a great question.
Oh, that is a good question.
I'll let you take it.
Mileage. For me, absolutely mileage. High school, I would do, well, first of all, I would run 5 days a week. I'd take Saturdays and Sundays off. And normal days were maybe 4 miles. Warm up, maybe make it like 4.5, 5. Long runs, longest I ever did in high school was 7. So weekly mileage was about 20 to 25, and 25 would be like peak. I don't even know if I hit 30 ever.
Wow.
So my mileage was like very, very low, which was like, I guess good for like injury because I never got injured too often. And then coming into college, coach wanted my summer training at 40, which I was expecting it to go up, but I was like, oh my gosh, 40 miles a week.
Right.
What is that? And my first week at 40 in the summer, it was like tiring, but it felt good. And then I hit it for a couple of weeks, got sick.
Right.
And came into the season on like, I don't know, not 40 miles a week because I was sick for like a week or two.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was bad. I don't even know what it was. And so I came in with low mileage, and then preseason I got in like 50 or 55 after coming off of nothing. So kind of took a toll
Yeah, for
immediately.
sure.
And then like just a constant build up to eventually like 60 or something, what I hit in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was just surprising to me.
Yeah.
Other than that, not much was too much different. Like the racing between a 5K and an 8K,
Mm-hmm.
I had an unusual experience for that because I
Yeah.
actually split a much faster 5K in my second
Yeah, you're a strange case,
college
my
race.
friend.
Yeah. It was abnormal for me. So the race wasn't too much different for me. It was just the mileage.
Yeah, I feel like the race, that's kind of every freshman kind of goes through their own unique experience with trying to figure out an 8K. Like it's like
Yeah.
you're learning how to race for the first time.
Yeah, it truly is. My first race, I took it so slow. It ended up being like 2 minutes slower than what I ended up running towards the end of the season. But
Holy
I
crap.
was just feeling it out the entire
Right.
time. I was totally out of it, totally not in a race
Well, you had a
mindset or
good
anything.
race at regionals, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that
I was gonna say
was
you were up with me.
yeah. It was like the same time I ran. What was it?
Yeah, you
2 weeks
scared me.
before or whatever at Max. I scare you.
You scared me. You came up. I was like, who the hell is up here with me? I was happy. I was like, holy crap. Like, go, Jordan, go. But I was just
I
not
cut some
expecting
corners.
anyone. But I
Is
won't
that
tell anyone.
did that go through your head?
Yeah.
Like,
It's like, there's just no way.
yeah, he had to cut a flag or something.
No, I was proud of you. That was good.
Yeah, that was a very good day.
I would say the biggest challenge for me was probably the time commitment of things. So, like, what I mean by that is in high school, I would, go to school, go to practice, come home, eat, do homework. And I could do homework until midnight, wake up at 6, get 6 hours of sleep, be totally fine, completely function the rest of the
Would
day.
you actually do that?
Yeah. Yeah. I did that
You would do homework until midnight?
every day my senior year. I did homework until midnight.
Ooh.
It was awful.
Yeah, that's rough.
But like, sometimes that's what it takes. And so I'd get 6 hours of sleep and I'd function on 6 hours of sleep. And then I came to college and I thought I could do the same, but the running in college just beats you down to a whole nother level. At least it did for me. So my biggest challenge was like the recovery in terms of sleep. I just was not getting enough sleep when at first, like the beginning of the year. And I quickly realized when I was, passing out in class, I was like, okay, I need to fix something here. So I fix my sleep. I make sure I sleep at minimum 8 hours a night.
Yep.
10 if I can, but 8 to 10 hours every night. Cause it's a different effort level. Like, I don't know. It's just something, there's a switch and there's very little time to get acclimated to it. You're kind of, like you said, thrown in and it's sink or swim, and you got to swim. You got to figure out how to swim.
Yep.
So the biggest thing was getting enough sleep and making sure my body was well rested.
Yeah, sleep is very much key.
It is. It's a huge factor that not a lot of people think
I notice all day if I don't get enough sleep.
Right. It sticks with you.
Yeah.
All right. So then we got from Joseph Loy. He's a kid that goes to a high school in my county. He said, I work at a grocery store too. How do you balance work and summer training, given that being on your feet for a long period of time and having the energy to run? For me, it's kind of hard. So he has 2 questions. So I'll answer the first one first because I'm assuming that was directed towards me because I work in a grocery store.
Yeah.
So for those that don't know, I work at Wegmans. I'm a front end coordinator, which is basically a fancy term for like a part-time manager. I'm not some big hotshot manager. I have very little,
Oh, I was about to just call you
powers.
big boy.
No, I have very little powers. I just kind of oversee the cashiers on the front end. And if anybody's seen a Wegmans, it's bigger than most grocery stores. So on any given day, we'll have anything from like 10 to 20 cashiers at one time. So My job is to constantly be walking around the entire front end, making sure all the lanes are going smoothly. No cashiers have need any help. There's no lines building up. Like there's a million things that I have to constantly be paying attention to, but I'm literally on my feet for 8 hours a day. So
I
I'll go
feel
to
like that's a
work.
little stressful because
It,
like when
yeah,
things go wrong, that's probably stressful.
yeah, I'm the first person that has their hands on it to fix it.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to think on your feet because you don't have a lot of time to fix it. Like if a cashier's register breaks or scale breaks, like there's a line that's building up and I have to figure out how to fix it very quickly. So it teaches you problem solving skills. But so I would say the biggest thing for me to kind of overall answer your question, I don't know why it just did an audio message. That was weird. So how do I have the energy to run? Well, I just ran, kind of a humble brag here. I just finished my very first ever 100-mile week this week, which averages out to 14 a day with a 16-mile long run. So I would do anywhere between 9 and 5, 9.5, 4.5, 10 and 4 every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then I did 16 on Sunday. So that's not easy.
And what was the pace?
Today was 6:56 for 16 miles.
Ooh, smoking.
It was a little flat, but I felt great. So I actually didn't. I felt like complete butt cheeks, but we pulled it out. I have great teammates, Noah Baxter and Mike Dorzak, to thank, and they brought a friend, Nick. He was a great guy, great to talk to. It was nice to be with people while running for a long time.
They all
So
ran that.
they all ran.
Nice.
Baxter ran 10, Dorzak and Nick ran 13, and then I ran 16. So I couldn't have done it
Dang.
without them. So I have huge thanks to them for going out there and kind of putting up with it with me. So thank you to them. But anyways, having that energy is really something that's difficult. I struggle with it. I struggled with it this week. I was exhausted this whole week. So what I do is I try to get as many opening shifts as I can. So I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and I work from 6 to 2:30. So I get home around 3. And usually what I end up doing is I take a nap until 4. So I'll take an hour nap. And then that gives my legs time to kind of recover a little bit. And then once I wake up, it's kind of like once you stand up from the bed, like get out of the bed, I find myself slow, like just already starting to move, out the door. My shorts are on, my watch is on, I move out the door. So the biggest thing for me is never underestimating the power of a nap. I used to not be the person to take naps, but I need them.
Power naps.
They really save my life. So I get home and I take a nap. Sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I work a mid shift and I work like 10:30 to 7 and I don't have time to nap. So like that day I ran in the morning, I worked 10:30 to 7 and then I ran in the evening. So it's like, for me, it boils down to, again, the motivation. And I may not have the energy, but I'm going to do it because I want to be good at it. So that was a super long answer to that very simple question, but just kind of get out there, once you get out on that run, it'll start to your legs will start to loosen up. You'll start to feel a little bit better. But the first, starting it is the hardest part.
I also found that running at the same time every day seems to help because then your body gets in that routine of this certain time of day, your body's ready to get the run in. Mm-hmm. So it boosts the energy a little bit.
No, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
So try that out. Let us know how it goes. Hopefully your summer goes well. If you have any other questions, feel free to reach out. This other one is also, what do you think coaches are going to do in terms of recruiting for incoming seniors, given that there was no outdoor this past season? So I'm assuming he means seniors going into college, going into freshman year, given that there was no outdoor. So I know a lot of college coaches will not only look at their senior season, but they look at the buildup. So you can kind of take your freshman, sophomore, junior seasons and kind of look at, the curve that you're on. And obviously, you can have a breakout year at any point. So that's always possible. But a lot of coaches will look at that. You have indoor times that coaches can look at too. You also have cross country times. While those are a little less reliable because you never know the course and the conditions, like there's so many factors that go into a cross country race, the times are kind of hard to judge. So I feel like for your outdoor track season, that's people kind of tend to run faster in outdoor than indoor. I feel
Yep.
like a lot of coaches aren't going to they can't put any, like weight on an outdoor season that didn't happen. So they're going to kind of analyze uh, the past 3 years is my guess, and look going forward as to what they think you can do. And then it's going to become a matter of if you can do it and if you want to do it, because I feel like any goal that a coach sets, if they train you properly, you can reach it. Like coaches set realistic goals and they know how to get you there. So if a coach says, hey, I see this in you, well, then he trusts you to get there. You just got to put your trust in them and do the work. But do you have an answer to that question?
I do not. I just have a worst case scenario topic to bring up.
Mm-hmm.
So imagine someone is going into their senior year right now.
Right.
Freshman year, they did outdoor because, I don't know, they were freshmen and their times weren't, they weren't happy with it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Sophomore year comes around, they were injured the whole season. Junior year was stripped away because of the outbreak.
Right.
And let's say they are a soccer player and their school doesn't have indoor. So outdoor is really their only thing to show coaches.
Right.
So now their college coach doesn't know anything about them except for freshman year. And they almost have to wait until the spring of their senior year to make a decision for college. I feel like that would be
that's difficult.
tough.
That's very difficult.
But I guarantee there are people that are like that. That's happened to.
For sure. Yeah, the juniors that have had kind of botched previous years are in a very difficult position.
Yeah.
Especially like sprinters and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like that only do
because they don't. Yeah, like they don't have. an option
no, that's
for
a great
cross-country.
point. That's interesting that you bring that up, because that is a very good point. And
that would be like worst case scenario.
Right. But still, it's a possibility, and different variations of it are also a possibility. And I think that it's going to be interesting to see how coaches decide to put together their roster, because it's going to be a lot more trust in work ethic than it is in numbers, I feel like.
Yep.
But great questions.
Yeah, that was a good question.
So this guy, him, Gage Crawl.
Gage Crawl, yeah.
So he said, does heart rate and cadence in a run matter? So I've already I saw this earlier and I thought it was an amazing question.
That is a good question.
I kind of thought about my answer, but if you want to go, you can take it.
Yeah, I can roll with it. For me, I don't think either of them matter. It depends on like to me, cadence matters more than heart rate, because heart rate I see as more of a like conditioning level. Like if you're doing, I don't know, 7 flat pace and you're not conditioned, your heart rate's going to be higher than if you're doing 7 flat pace conditioned. So like you can sort of tell where your heart rate should be. Normally for me, if I'm like feeling good on a run, my heart rate's, I don't know, 170-ish. If I'm like not jogging, but I'm also not pushing myself really hard. And cadence for me is more important, because I feel like the faster I've moved my legs, the less likely I am to slack off on the pace. Like if I'm keeping that momentum going in my legs, I'm not gonna feel sluggish. But that's because I'm not like 6'5" or anything. People who are like really tall, they're probably not gonna have as high of a cadence because they can exaggerate their stride. But I also feel like exaggerating your stride and like making it longer uses more muscle each stride, which can also, I feel like, cause your pace to slow down a little bit. So cadence, I would say, keep on the higher side. And Griffin, I know you have the highest cadence I have ever seen anyone run with. It is insane.
And my cadence is a little higher than I'd like. I won't worry.
Hey, you're fast though. It works. Fast.
My little legs get me there. That's an interesting point. I think heart rate, it doesn't matter for like a normal run, because everybody's is going to be different. To your point, it depends on how physically fit you are. I know a lot of professional athletes use heart rate instead of like they use it to gauge effort levels, which everyone can do. It's just more particular, more specific, if you will, to be in a certain zone based on your fitness level. So I've never really paid attention to it. So for me, heart rate doesn't matter because I can listen to my body and know the effort level that I'm putting out.
Yeah.
So heart rate's always been difficult for me to kind of not necessarily understand, but read into, you know what I mean? Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't think much about like I can see my heart rate and like feeling it now, I know my heart is perfectly healthy. So I don't really think about it much during a run.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it all depends on how physically fit you are. And you
And you
know,
generally know that.
right. And so if your, heart is beating at 220 beats per minute, maybe chill a little bit. That's
Yeah.
kind of that in terms of that, that's important. Or if it's dummy slow, like that's also probably not a good sign. Like you should probably like your heart should be beating when you're running
Yeah.
fast. My
I,
heart
I
beats
would say it
fast.
shouldn't be below like 150
Right.
or like 140, I guess.
So it all depends. That's the thing is it all depends on how fast you're going, what you're doing, how physically fit you are. Like there's so much that plays into it. So that part's hard to answer. In terms of your cadence, it's interesting because it's almost to me, I almost see it as it does matter, but in a particular way. So like I knew somebody that I ran with in high school whose cadence was, believe it or not, shorter than mine. Um, but she was a little smaller than me. Um, and it's like you want your stride to be like there's an ideal stride, there's an ideal set stride that is the most efficient way to run. And now obviously it doesn't have to be perfect. Like everybody has different strides and there are different shoes that match your stride. But you don't want your cadence to be so short because then your hips are doing a lot of extra work and that can put a lot of strain on them over time. But you also don't want your cadence to be super long because then you're reaching out with your foot and bringing yourself back. And if anybody knows a little bit about physics, it's like the faster you run, it's determined by how long your feet are on the ground. So you want your feet to be on the ground for the shortest amount of time and you want
Yeah.
less surface area. So you don't want the whole part of your foot hitting and dragging and pulling your body forward and then pushing it forward. And you want to be on your toes and it lands underneath you and you just push forward. And so it's a quick, rapid motion.
Yep.
Now, with that being said, your cadence shouldn't be dummy short either. So there's a healthy balance to it. So it's not that it matters because, like Jordan said, my cadence is very short. I think it's 190 steps per minute, um,
I
which
believe
is
that.
insane. And Noah Baxter, who's probably 2 inches taller than me, is 170, and he has a little bit of a longer stride. So my ideal stride is probably 180, and so is Noah's if he shortened it a little bit. I think we talked about that at one point. So it's like it doesn't fully matter, but you want to be at a point where it's not going to be detrimental to your body. And him being at 170 and me being at 190, where it's a little longer, a little short, that's not detrimental. But if you're like, really stretching your feet out or like taking little baby steps, like that's going to cause you some pain and some injury in the long run.
Yeah.
All right. So Alex Sabo, our current teammate, great guy.
My roommate Sabo.
So
I
he asked
sleep
a
with that
really
guy. I mean, in the same room. We don't share mattresses.
he asked a great question. He said, if given the chance, what sprint/field event would you want to compete in?
Ooh, I like that question a lot. Wait, is that like sprint and field or like
Or
just
fields.
one? Ooh,
So like if you could only do one event, like one other event other than distance, like you had to repick.
oh, I know mine. Hands
Go ahead.
down.
Go.
My high school coach is gonna never head away because she constantly, year after year, told me I could not do it. Long jump.
Long
Absolutely.
jump.
Yeah. I wanted to do long jump so bad because I would jump in like elementary school. Did you ever have field days
Yeah.
where and they took like jump ropes and they spread them out?
Right.
I'd win that every time by like 3 jumps or
Ooh.
whatever. So I wanted to do long jump so bad, but my coach didn't let me because she said that she didn't want me to hurt my knees by jumping because apparently it's bad for your knees. but I feel like it's more of she didn't want me to leave her zone.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I feel like it was one of
That's
those
a good one.
things.
That's a good one.
Yeah, definitely long jump.
I feel like if I could pick anything, I feel like I'd go pole vault. I feel like it's sick to like fly through the air like that. Like you're throwing yourself up, like for dudes, it's like 13, 14 feet up in the air. Like that's kind of crazy.
I feel like that's so hard though.
Oh, it's so
Like,
hard. Like I have mad respect for people that pole vault.
yeah, like that's
Um,
like the polar opposite for us because that takes like a lot of upper body and
right.
like
That's
I
all up.
mean,
You got to pull yourself and you got to like fling yourself in the air. So like
yeah,
the amount of grace that you have to have is crazy.
yeah,
Um,
that's a
so yeah, so
tougher thing.
I really like that one. Um, all right. So I think that's all the questions on Instagram.
Ooh,
So let's see here. No, we have more, but I'm gonna hop around. I'm gonna hop over here.
oh, we
So
have them in different locations.
yes, we have them all over the place. I gotta try and find them all. So Darren said he's one of our teammates as well. He said, "Do the craziest running story / craziest thing to happen to you while running."
Oh, the craziest.
Craziest running story and craziest thing
Oh,
to happen to you while running.
oh.
That's hard. I don't know. Like
I mean, the one that popped in my head is like really short and really gross, I guess. But
gross.
I
So
want I want to get
should we
something
say
better.
viewer discretion is
No, no,
advised?
a bug during a mile at my league meet hit my tongue and exploded on the backstretch,
That's really gross.
and its guts burned my tongue and then my
Oh
throat. Yeah, yeah,
gosh,
yeah. Okay.
that's so
That's not the
gross.
story I want to tell though.
All
But that just came to my mind.
right, go ahead. Go ahead. I gotta think of
Oh,
mine.
so do I. Oh boy.
This is. I feel like a lot of crazy things happen, but then at the same time, I feel like there hasn't really been a lot of crazy.
Yeah, I feel like a
things.
lot of crazy things don't happen for me. Is this like a race or a run?
He said while running, so
Or running
anything.
Oh boy.
Oh, I have a crazy thing that happened during a race. If we can include
Okay.
races.
Yeah.
So do you want me to go while you think?
Yeah, you go and
All
I'll
right,
keep
all right.
thinking.
So I've got a couple, I guess, that I can share regarding races. I'm a very aggressive person when I race. If you come into my personal space, I don't like it. So whenever we start a race, I always have my arms like up, like I got chicken wings when we start, so that nobody comes in my bubble because I'm a small person. So like if somebody hits me, I'm going down, like I will fall. Um, so there are two races that come to mind when I think about this. The first was in high school. We ran at Stevenson. And the start line, you have like, I think we had like 14 teams on the start line, and it bottlenecked to probably 6 or 8 people wide. And so if you've ever seen a cross country meet, there's probably 200 kids at the start line, and everybody's sprinting for this bottleneck because they don't want to get caught in the slow part where, you know, everybody gets crunched up. It's like people merging in traffic. Like it's just going to happen. Excuse me. So I get out and I have my little chicken wings up, and this kid comes over and he pushes my arm in. Well, my arm always shoots back out because I don't like people in my personal space because I will go down. Well, he might have gone down.
Did you push him down?
I didn't. He tripped. But again, if you've ever seen a cross country race, people wear spikes.
Oh no.
So people wear spikes, which are very dangerous when, you know, they're not going into grass, they're going into somebody else. So he may or may not have screamed pain. And yeah, so if you're listening to this, homie, I don't know who you are. I don't know what school you're from. I'm sorry. Genuinely didn't mean for that to happen. But yeah, that one was really uncomfortable. I felt a lot of regret after that race because I felt very bad for that kid. He was okay, like didn't need an ambulance or anything like that. And I think he finished the race too. But I felt really bad. The second funny thing that comes to mind when I think about, you know, personal space is the mile at F&M. I don't know if you ever saw this race or not, but I lined up at the mile. F&M is Franklin and Marshall to school in Lancaster.
Was it this year?
Yes. So it has 6 lanes. It's an indoor track, 200 meters around. So a mile is 8 laps. So I line up, and my teammate Brandon is over on the outside, and I was kind of in the middle. So this track is known to be like very aggressive off the start. Like a lot of people gun for lane 1. So again, I got my chicken wings up. Like, once we start, they kind of go up, but you don't have as much room in track. So it's not perfect. So I go to get in lane 1, and this guy from York elbows me, like throws an elbow, which I can't be mad at. I do. I pushed that kid down and made him scream. So I was mad. I'm not going to lie. So he threw an elbow, and it threw me out into lane 6. So I was in lane like 2, and it threw me all the way out into lane 6. So I like lift my head up, and Damien said, my roommate said he saw me, and he goes, I have never seen you so instantly angry in your entire life. Because what I did was I found the guy that pushed me and set a direct course for him. And I went and I pushed him back. So he fell, and that caused like 2 other people to fall. And then Brandon fell too. And I was really sad because that like kind of low-key messed up his race. Like mentally, he was just out of it for the rest of the race. He still ran a good time considering he fell.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not going to get pushed by this kid and not fight back. Like, I'm too small to not fight back. So I don't regret that one. I do feel bad for Brandon. And I did apologize for kind of low-key messing up his race. But yeah, that guy fully deserved it. And I was
watch it happen live.
It was just so funny to see Damien just be like, I've never seen you get so instantly angry at somebody. I was like, just set a direct path, and I was like, I'm coming for your neck. Like, it's over.
Yep.
So did you get yours?
I did. While you were talking about physically pushing people, I thought of the time where I pushed myself. Not really. The wind pushed me a lot. So it was this past spring, and I actually filled out my final surge completely so that coach could read it. And I sent him a text saying, hey, look at my final surge. It's kind of funny. So I set out intending for an 8-mile run, which around my house, there are 0 trees. I kid you not, I can run a mile and have 20 feet of shade, maybe, if I'm lucky, from my house. Yes, it's terrible. There are 0 trees. So when it's windy, it gets very windy and gusty. And the one day, so normal winds are like 4 or 5 miles an hour. That's like every day. That's like the lowest it goes. It's never not windy. And really windy, I would say, would be like 17, 18. That's when I want to go somewhere to run.
Wow.
But this day was 27 miles an hour.
Holy crap.
No, yeah. It might have been 24. It was up there. Yeah. Still, it was up there. I was like, I'll take on this challenge, because normally I like back away from wind because I just hate running into wind so much. It takes control of your body.
Running in the wind.
Yes. But I was like, you know what? I got it this time. I'm going to show this wind who's boss. I'm going to run 8 miles in its face, and it's not going to be able to do anything about it. Well, that could not have been more wrong, because it pushed me off the road. I can't even count how many times. The one time I fell. Because it shoved me off the road so many times. And when it was it felt like it was a constant headwind, no matter which direction I went.
I hate that so much.
Yeah. I ended up doing only 4 miles, but it shoved me off the road so many times. And when a car was coming, I was terrified. I didn't know if I was going to get shoved into the car.
Yeah.
And like cars move when they like are getting gusts that fast coming at them. So I was kind of fearful for my life.
Wind is terrifying.
Yeah. That was kind of a lame story, but that
was a good one.
That's all that came to mind.
All right, let's see. What other questions did we get?
The other 2 that came to mind, I've already told in previous episodes.
All right. So my roommate Damien, he said, when are me and Andy Loy getting an invite to the podcast. So Andy Loy is another teammate. So this
Yeah,
is
you
gonna
got to
kind
open
of,
that wallet. And
it's gonna, yeah, we gotta profit off of our own image here.
yeah,
NCAA, come
yeah,
get
yeah,
us.
yeah.
Um, so this is gonna kind of segue into our next kind of talking point. Um, so we want to bring guests on. We're actually really excited because we have a plan that we're going to share here. So starting next week, we're going to start a new series called the Alumni Series. So we're going to get various alumni that have graduated from Lebanon Valley College, and we're going to kind of let them come on here, share their stories, ask them a couple questions at the end, just so you guys can kind of listen to them and learn from them, because we feel like, you know, the more minds that you throw into this, the more you can learn from it. So um, each week we're gonna kind of have like a little bit of background information about this whatever alumni will be that week, and we won't expose it until the podcast comes out. So you'll get, you know, a first look, or you'll hear first when the episode releases, but we'll give a little bit of background. And you know, you can make guesses all you want, and who knows, we may even throw in a little reward for a little shout out or something like that for the person that gets it right, first person to get it right. But we haven't planned any of that out yet, so check out our Instagram for any updates on that. But that will be kind of where everything is the week leading up to the podcast. So we want to do the alumni series, and then when we run out of alumni or want to take a break from it and come back to it, we're going to do a current team member series. Um, that doesn't have as catchy of a name as the alumni series, but we're working on it. So that's where we kind of take members from our team that we think have great stories and we want to share with you all. And we can kind of talk with them about what's going on, what the plan is, with their, you know, collegiate goals and how they got there and all that stuff. So kind of look into the future. That's what we've got. So if you have any if you have anyone in general that you think would be interested in coming on, or if you yourself would be interested in coming on, by all means, reach out to us, send us a DM, tell us your story. We don't want to I don't want to say if I think your story is good enough, because everybody has a great story. But, you know, obviously we can't take everybody right away. Like, we have to be selective.
Yeah.
But if you want to share your story or you're interested in it going forward, by all means, send us a DM, kind of give us a little overview. We might ask you a couple questions, see how you respond, kind of thing. And yeah, kind of go from there. So that will be a cool way that we can kind of interact with people that listen to this going forward. But that, you know, won't be for a little while because we have the alumni series and the teammate series. Ooh, I kind of like the ring to that.
Teammate series.
The
That
teammate
feels better
series
than
kind of
current teammate series. Throw that out of there.
So yeah, so that's kind of what we have going forward. But by all means, again, if you're interested, shoot us a DM, or if you have any suggestions, by all means, shoot us a message and say, hey, I'd love it if you would talk about this, or I've been struggling with this, can you talk about this? Because we can always, you know, squeeze a little bit of that into each episode. So always feel free to reach out and message us. We're super open to that. And then yeah, if you have any recommendations for who we should bring on, by all means, reach out and let us know. Other than that, that's all the Q&A I have.
So Damien, to answer your question, we're booked until about 2022.
Yeah,
But
super
there's
busy.
always, you know, like there's ways that, you know, we can open a week up.
We can open a slot.
Yeah,
You just might have to, you know, find ways to get us some payments here. But so I guess we'll kind of we're doing this a little backwards this time, so we'll talk about our weeks a little bit and see.
Yes,
see
I
how
really want to hear about
running's
your
been.
week. Your 100-mile
Yes, sir.
week in the books.
Yes, sir. Very first one.
I FaceTimed you on your
you did
one
That's
of the
right.
early ones. Yeah,
I forgot.
For the last 2 miles ish.
Yeah, I was screaming.
You're cruising
some stuff up there because those were some hilly runs.
Yeah.
So when I first came to LVC on my visit, I met with Coach O'Brien, my current coach, and he was telling me about somebody he had or was currently, I think it was had run 100 miles before. And he was saying, that's just, it was something he was bragging about. And I thought to myself at that moment, you will never, ever, ever catch me running 100 miles in a week. You will never, ever catch me running 100 miles in a week. And my mom said the moment we walked out of that office, she said, you're going to run 100 miles. I was like, Mom, you've lost your mind. Like, there's no way. Well, 2 years later, here we are. I said, Coach, I want to run 100 miles. So we chose to do it this early because this way I can kind of get a huge base of just solid running and then drop it and do workouts. So that's kind of like our 100 miles, no workouts, drop down to a different level and do workouts kind
Which
of thing.
your different level that you speak of is going to be what? Still 80?
Probably like 75 to 85.
Yeah, that's
So
still a lot of miles.
So like I was saying, 100 miles is 14 miles a day with a 16-mile long run. So Monday I ran 9 and 4, which is 13. So I started the week off strong and messed up my math. So it's a good thing I switched out of XI. So that was good. And then Tuesday I did 10 and 5 to make up for it.
Ooh.
And Wednesday, yeah, that one sucked because that was the day that it was like 97 out.
Yeah.
And I like low-key
Oh
almost
yeah,
had
that
heat
was
stroke.
a hot day.
So that was the day you called me, was Tuesday actually.
Yeah.
I think, or something like that. It was early in the week, might have been Wednesday. But
yeah.
I do these runs that are like, it's like 100 feet downhill, 100 feet uphill, 150 feet downhill, 150 feet uphill, and then it's kind of flat. But it's an out and back. So I do that twice essentially. And that was the loop I did for a while. And that one sucked because I would do my longer, like 9 or 10 mile runs at, 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon when it's just destructively hot.
On a 97-degree day.
Yeah. So
with
that one
high
sucked.
humidity.
So I learned very quickly that it's better to just do the little shakeout that I do, 4, 4.5, or 5 at that time, and then get my longer run out in the evening. So I forget what it was, but one day I slept through my shakeout. I snoozed my alarm from 7 till 9 a.m. I just kept snoozing it because I was so physically tired and I needed sleep. And I was like, shoot, I have to make this up. So I added 2 miles to, I think, 2 of my runs, and then like 1 mile to one of them. And that was, the 5 from my shakeout, or it might've been 2 and then 2.5. And that was 4.5. I forget the exact details. I have it written down in a book, but, so one of the days that I added 2 miles was Saturday, my recovery day. So if you, remember, our recovery runs were really capped at like an hour.
Yeah.
Well, I did a 90-minute recovery run and I ran 12 miles yesterday.
Jeez.
And then I did a 16-mile long run today. So I worked from 6 to 2:30 this morning, and then I drove half an hour to a rail trail, and it was perfectly flat, absolutely beautiful weather. And like I said, great group of guys. And we got to the 5-mile mark and we turned around because Noah was only doing 10. And I felt like death. I was like, this sucks. Like, I'm going to be back at 10 and I still have 6 miles to go. I looked down at my watch and it said 7. And Noah was making a joke about how it was like the longest he's run all week. And I was like, I'm not even halfway done. So I started to panic a little bit. And we got back at 10. We all decided to take a little break, get some water, go to the bathroom if you needed it, regroup. And poor Noah just sat by his car for the whole time. So then me, Mike Dorzak, and his friend Nick all decided, all right, well, I knew I had to go out, but Mike Dorzak and Nick kind of said, all right, we'll go. They both went a mile and a half out the other way with me. So they were going to turn back and do another mile and a half, which would put them at 13. So that left me to do a mile and a half out and then 3 miles back on my own. So I was alone for 4.5 miles of
The
the
last
end,
4.5.
the last 4.5 miles of my 16-mile long run. So once they left, I was a little nervous because I was like, my legs are very tired. And I didn't really know what pace to go, how to handle it, because I had been letting them do all the work. So they kind of get off, and I'm like, all right, well, we've been floating around 7 flat, so I'll just kind of stay here. And I make it down, and I look down, and I was like, oh, I've been going 6:45 this whole time. So I was like, all right, well, you got 3 miles back, and you can't slow down, so let's keep it up. And I thought of it really like the end of a race because my legs were in so much pain that was like what it was most comparable to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like when you think about the end of a race, it was like you just really can't give up. Like that's when you feel the most defeated, but you have to stay in it the most.
Yep.
So I was just mentally like, stay focused, stay focused. You're a half mile done. You're 1 mile done. You only have 2 miles left. Okay, you're halfway done. You're at 1.5. Okay, now you only have a mile left. So I was just constantly, checking my watch, and I was doing like 6:30s healthily on the way back. I passed people on bikes, and I was like, I feel great.
Jeez.
All of a sudden, I was like, I just feel so good. So a mile to go, and I was like, all right, you have 6.5 minutes of running left, and then you're done. And I remember coming through this little clearing and stepping onto the road, and I looked down, and my watch said 16.00, and my heart like sank, but in a good way, because I realized like I did it, like it hit me for the first time that I had committed myself to do 100 miles, and I did it for the first time in my life. This has been a huge goal ever since spring. I've been excited to do this because I feel like it's something that it's a club, like it's a
It
special
is.
club
That's
that
just
a lot
insane.
of runners, recognize the level of commitment that it takes.
You're now in the insanity club.
Yes, sir. I'm officially crazy. But I have I've never been more proud of myself for like setting a goal and sticking to it. Like I feel like you set goals in races and you stick to them, and that's good and all, but like this, like I deliberately, like I woke up to an alarm every morning. If I was off, I woke up to an alarm and I got a run done. Like I have a summer class. So I did schoolwork, I worked, and I ran 100 miles all in 1 week. So this was just a huge accomplishment that I was really, really proud of myself for completing.
Do you feel like you ran 100 miles? Are you tired of you right now?
My legs hurt so much. And I get to do it again tomorrow.
Yep. How many more weeks are you at 100?
One more. So next week is going to be 100, and then after that I'm dropping to 70, all like recovery stuff. And then that'll be the start of July where we'll pick up workouts. So we'll kind of find where the happy medium is.
Yep. Dang. 70 is going to feel like bliss for you.
I know. I could theoretically do it without any shakeouts.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
But like if I throw like 2 shakeouts in there, my days just get so much easier.
Yeah.
Definitely. That is the nice thing, is like I've gotten so accustomed to doing like 9.5 or 10 mile runs.
That now like, it's going to feel nice to do.
Mm-hmm. Do
still high mileage,
in there,
but
it's going to feel great.
Yeah.
But
you're going to feel fresh every day.
But how was yours? What'd you do?
Oh, I had shin problems.
Oh, that's
and
right.
I also, I don't know how well it's going to show up. It kind of doesn't look as bad anymore. I sliced my thumb there.
Holy cow.
It was down to the tissue, I guess, or whatever. It was white. And It was like, it didn't bleed at first and it didn't hurt at first. I was like, oh, that's not good.
Not good.
Yeah. So that has been hurting until yesterday. It's like getting better. But my shins hurt last week. And they do that every time I start to increase mileage. like they did in the fall. They
Mm-hmm.
did it in the winter. They did it in the spring.
Mm-hmm.
And so I took Monday off. I was like, a day off, that's fine. I can get back to it Tuesday. Tuesday, I'll go back to it. They still hurt a lot. So I texted coach, took 3 days off. I took Wednesday, Thursday, Friday off. Went back Saturday to a trail instead of on the road because it was softer surfaces, being proactive about it.
Right.
And it was a lot better. Ran today at Soterra with Gage Craw,
Ooh, okay.
Mr. Heart Rate Cadence question. Ran with him 40 minutes, felt good. So I think it's getting better. Saturday I ran 30 minutes, today 40, tomorrow 50. Then I'll be back to like normal and be able to hopefully hit 60 this week. Even though having coming off of I don't even know how many miles I technically got in last week. Well, I guess this week it would be. But
Right.
yeah. So I did like exercises for it because I went in the fall. I went to the trainers and they gave me exercises that made it better in not a lot of time at all. And I was able to like keep running through them. And so I was doing those and I think those really helped. So it's getting better.
Good.
So
Well,
I think next week I should be good to healthily go at it.
Good. That's good to hear.
Yeah, my high school coach told me that I was very good at being proactive about
That's
anything
good.
that would spike up. Because in my eyes, I would rather do it right away, catch it early,
right,
and only take 3 days off than just pushing through it, letting it go, and missing something when the training gets more important or the season starts. So in my eyes, I would rather take it on immediately instead of letting it build up and get worse.
Right. Cool beans.
So, yeah, that was my week of of fun hurting my thumb, my shins.
Amazing.
Yesterday, we have a burn pit in the backyard.
Okay.
And it was 4 cinder blocks high, 4 or 5 cinder blocks high. So it would go up to like my waist.
Mm-hmm.
It was crumbling, falling apart, full of ashes.
Oh.
Yesterday from, I don't even know what time I started, but I did it all day. I shoveled it out and I rebuilt it. With
Where do you put the ashes?
We have like a mound of dirt and it was practically dirt. So I just put it there. So
interesting.
Yeah, we have a big yard because we live in the countryside. So
that's crazy.
If I walk the perimeter of my yard, it's 400 meters.
Jeepers,
I think it's like just shy. But
that's crazy.
Yeah, so it was all the way in the backyard, and I would shovel it up, put it in a wheelbarrow, carry it to the dirt pile, shovel it back out. So today my back is painful.
Yeah, wheelbarrows and shoveling, they'll do that to your back.
Oh yeah, big time. Yeah, I was real proud because now it looks all nice.
That's sick.
Yeah.
I went to Andy Loy's house this week.
Ooh.
Drove
Wait,
2
does he
hours
live
to go
like
see him.
really far away from you?
Yes. I drove 2 hours to go see him.
You should have hit my house on the way back.
I really actually thought about it, but I needed to get back to run. But he has a really cool pond and he had a zip line with it. And so I was
going down the zip line at his house.
Yeah, it was great. It's like it's a different property. It's not his house, but it's like his property, if that makes sense.
Okay, yeah. I need to go over to his house then.
Yeah, soon we have the whole team there. But it was really cool because we like would go down the zip line and do dumb stuff. And we had this like swing that you held onto. So it was like a rope with like a plastic circle in the middle. It was like a little children's swing that was attached to it. It had handlebars too, but I liked the swing more because you could do dumb stuff off of it. But like, so I was doing cool stuff, like leaning back and putting my feet on it, and it looked really cool. I have some cool videos from it that I will shamelessly say I looked dope in. But there's one video that you can clearly see. I go off, and I'm about to jump off, but like my leg got not stuck on the swing, but it definitely like it caught it, and it messed up my dismount, and so I fell backwards. And the pond's super deep, so I wasn't worried about like hitting my head or anything like that. But I smacked my side into the pond, and like right now, I can poke right above my hip, like in my back area and right on my hip, it is just in so much pain when I press it because I just essentially like side flopped right in the water. And in the video, you see water splash and fly up everywhere, and you just hear Andy go, "Oh!" and it hurt so bad. But that was
Is it like the
one of the most.
muscle that hurts still?
Yeah. Like if you poke it, it just feels like it's bruised underneath the surface.
Jeez.
But that was one of the most fun
How
days
high
I've
up
had.
was it?
The zip line,
Yeah.
it was probably 4 feet, 5 feet, 6 feet.
Okay.
Depends on where you jumped. If you jumped early, probably 8 to 10 feet. But if you jumped later, probably 4 to 5.
Okay.
So it depends. It went down steep, so it was like stupid fast. So it's like if you held on a little bit, like you.
Yeah.
I tried to
Gotcha.
like put my feet out and then like go all the way in till the thing hit the water, and the water hits back.
Definitely.
But, all right. Well, we're already in an hour, believe it or not. So,
Time flies.
thanks for all the questions, guys. We had
Yeah, those were
a
some
great
good
time.
questions.
Yeah, we had
I
a lot of
enjoyed
fun.
answering those.
So we'll definitely do another one of those in the future. Until
Definitely.
then, keep an eye out on Instagram for who our celebrity guest is going to be this weekend. Well, it'll be out, Sunday afternoon. We apologize for this one being late. Thank you for your patience.
Yes.
Jordan and I both had a lot of things going on. We wanted to make sure that we both had, equally undivided attention going into this episode as we were anticipating having a lot of fun with it. And we did. You all had
Yep.
great questions, and we wanted to make sure we got them answered with full attention, if that makes sense. So sorry it's a little bit late, but we do appreciate your patience with it. And yeah, keep an eye out on Instagram for the next one. Until then,
Yes.
we'll see you later.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Take care.